Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to Season 9 of the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Attilio.
Hi, Gayla.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm so excited to be back. I'm excited for this season.
Me too. Now, this season, we're exploring the theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You. It's a powerful reminder that while beginnings can be daunting, they're also the gateway to growth, success, and happiness. And throughout this season, you and I are going to be discussing how to push through those initial difficulties and take that important first step towards our big goals, even when it feels overwhelming. And we've got some fantastic guests lined up for this season. And I've been out to some conferences and have been talking about our theme, and people are loving it. It's really resonating. We've had some changes since we stopped Season 8. We had the hiatus. I don't know about you, but I've been doing a lot of business building and preparing for the coming year on behalf of my clients, because that's what we do is prepare for the future and then implement. How about you? What have you been kind of doing over the hiatus?
So same here. For us, the name of my company, 10 Touch, is based on a strategy I developed 20 plus years ago. And it's based on the fact that I believe, it's a personal belief on what I've seen in business, that your time to capture and connect with your customer, so I do this for myself, my clients, is January to October. And I do not care what you believe in or what you practice or what holidays you celebrate. November and December, the world goes into a whole other mode. And our brains can only hold so much. Love 100% from Season 8. You use that time to reset. So we have been building towards this new program. We had a soft launch this year, but the last few months where we took the hiatus from recording has all been about finishing up all the pieces of that puzzle. So it's been intense.
I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and we're going to do a little bit of that today, planning for the future. So for this show specifically, I have to tell you, Fran, I am so glad that I asked you last season to co-host, to try it out, try something new, because honestly, I think that it has made the show a lot better, and it has made the show so much more fun for me to do and produce. And I look forward to our time together each and every time. And I hear a lot of good feedback about the show. So thank you. That was a cool thing.
Thank you. And you know me, I have to have my gala time each week. So this just helps me ensure that, and multiple gala time a week, it's good too. So it's been a pleasure to be on this ride, and I love doing this with you.
A couple of things going forward. I mean, we're taking this season by season, see what makes sense. Because over the 9 years, we're starting 9 years of having the show being published, which I think is really cool. Longevity, there's something to longevity, but it's also that we would need to adjust. We're going to do this Season 9 because it makes sense, and we're looking into the future. We don't know. So I love that we're taking it season by season and incorporating things like a theme, like don't let the start stop you. One of the things that over the hiatus, I went ahead and I made some decisions on changing my business's social media priorities. And one of the things that I did was we have a Live Full Work Fun swag store. I've temporarily closed it to move it somewhere else and have different placement in the branding. But I really like the swag because I think that that's fun. And if anyone else would like Live Full Work Fun philosophy swag, there's going to be opportunity to have that. But what spawned off of that and the show were additional social media accounts specifically for Live Full Work Fun. And I had closed those. There was a Facebook business page, there was an Instagram page. There's still a Live Full Work Fun private Facebook group for this podcast. However, I am putting a temporary hold on that because it's so much. I'm asking folks, going to be a pin at the top of that Facebook group to come and follow my personal brand Facebook business page, Gayla Scrivener, Live Full Work Fun. So it's combined. That's where we'll be sharing things. And as far as a business page, now I'm not going to close that Facebook group yet because that may have some opportunity in the future. Do you have anything else that I am forgetting about our show?
No, I think you've covered it all. I think no, I think the theme is the big thing this year.
Yeah.
The start that I'm super excited about the theme.
So we're recording this a little bit before the episode premieres mid-November. And mid-November or November and December, as you alluded to, is typically the time that we start planning for a new year. You know, we kind of evaluate what has happened in the past and move into the future. We develop strategies for our businesses. We make those resolutions. We write down our goals. But here's the thing, no matter when you're listening to this episode, today is the very best day to take the next best step towards a better tomorrow. It's time to live full and work fun. So for today's season 9 premiere episode, let's dive into like 4 areas, Fran. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
How about let's go into why we chose the season's theme, any personal examples that we've had that let the start stop us, do some reflection, what our turning points and accomplishments, and then at least one of our future goals. We're going to just throw it out there to the universe because I think that's important. Our hope is to give you who are listening insight into our experiences and hopefully inspire you to overcome your own starting hurdles. So let's dive right in. Fran, do you really remember why we chose this season's theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You?
I don't remember the date, but I remember the moment. And I actually still have the piece of paper. We were recording in season 8, and you said, don't let the start stop you. And Gayla, I felt like fireworks were going off in my brain. You know, that aha moment, that like mic drop, whatever you want to call it. You have to be careful when you're recording. You don't make too much noise. Don't want to upset Robert. Love you, Robert.
Right?
But I'm like carefully writing that down. And when we finished, I was like, Gayla, that's brilliant. I even did a social post dedicated to you because I do my 10 Touch Tuesdays or quotes of people who inspire me. I created a whole post about this. It wasn't at that moment, but I remember then we were talking about the next season and you started to talk about this beautiful strategy. And I think, I'm not sure who said it first, but we were both like, oh my gosh, don't let the start stop you. It just blossomed from there. But it was, you said it on one of the season recordings in 8, and it was life-changing.
Well, I appreciate that. And you know what? I've been saying that for a while. And I realized that early on, I have a very old blog post that was that title and had that. So that has been bubbling up with your reaction to it. It's given me more clarity. And as I was just at a conference and was talking to folks about Don't Let the Start Stop You and asking for guests. And they were like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it resonated with so many people. So we all have those obstacles, right?
Yeah, it's much nicer than some of the other ones. I had, when I first started my business, take the leap and believe the net will appear. If you visualize that image, that's someone jumping off a cliff. Not everybody's ready to do that. The don't let the start stop you just sounds doable. And then it makes you curious. What is really stopping you?
What is, and it's not about getting from point A to point B in one big leap. It is really about what is the next best step for you. What's today? It could be the littlest, tiniest thing. And what's that next best step? You have these adapt and flow 10 touch timers.
Yes.
And you sent me a set of them, and I love them. They're timers as a cube. Sometimes we have to be reminded, and I use this, is what is my next best step? Okay, I've got to meet with my accountant and I've got to do my homework. I don't want to do it like right before, but what would help is the next best step would be set this timer and only work 15 minutes on this, especially when things happen that you kind of, it's a growing experience, but you kind of melt a little bit. That's what's stopping us, is that daunting feeling of, oh my gosh, this is this big leap, or this is this big pile that, or this big mountain that we have to climb. So
Everything we want is on the opposite side of that fear. And those timers are intentionally created because one of our biggest obstacles is time. We are limitless, but time is limited. But time
right.
does not have to be. We live in a culture where you hear a lot of, I don't have enough time. I'm doing everything I can, but I'm not getting anything done. There's this commentary in our head like time is our adversary. We're working against it. Those timers bring tools in to make time work for you. And there are little treasure troves of time in every day that, and we won't get into the timers here, but that's what that was about. And Gayla, the adapt and the flow part is that sometimes you used next right. I use right best. What's the right best next step? I kind of add right in there because it's what's right for you. Is it really doable and achievable right now? But how do you keep it moving forward? And even a tiny step is a step forward. That's a start.
Well, what I love about the 10 touch timer is it gamifies and it makes it fun. It lightens the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to mention that real quick, but I love that we're kicking off the show. And I think it would be good that you and I do a little bit of reflection and going into the future. Looking back over the past year, Fran, do you have like one or two examples where in the past, maybe you had a false stop, or, it's something you've tried to start, but the start was delayed and you let that start stop you. But then there was a turning point, and looking back today, you have some accomplishments that you've had over the past year.
Might sound obvious, but it's this business, but I'll explain why. I did not have typical dreams as a little girl. I used to create businesses. I created restaurants. I built a bank once in my basement. And when my mom would take me to the bank, I would grab all those little slips. So I set up a real bank and I had teller stations. And then when I got tired of the bank, I built another business. But I have dreamt of owning my own business since I can remember. I, unfortunately, for too much of my life, let the messages of what you learn from all outside sources tell me what I'm supposed to do, should be. And I followed that path. Now, I'm grateful for the path I followed because it still led me here. That to me is my biggest example of not letting the start stop you. The strangest start to my business. I was in New York City having lunch with a friend, a very dear friend who I credit with being my drop from the universe to get me started. We were at lunch. We were supposed to be meeting about our current jobs. And we were both meeting to say, our job, something's happening. I don't know what it is. And I'm going to go out on my own. And we laughed because what I was doing complemented what he was doing. He's like, go form your company and you're going to be my agency. I literally walked out of this restaurant in New York City. I was on 32nd walking towards Penn Station. And on my phone, I created my LLC. I'm standing in front of an Old Navy retail store under their awning, creating my LLC on my phone, getting on the train and just moving forward because in that moment, Gayla, I wasn't thinking in a good way. I trusted my intuition. I trusted my gut that said, this is it. This is right. Don't listen to anybody else. I didn't call anyone. I just said, I know this is right and best for me. And I did it. And I'm so grateful. That was my leap. That was my leap of faith. I am not letting anything stop me this time. I've wanted this deep in my soul since I was a child. This is my moment. I'm not going to let it pass me by. And I just celebrated 5 years and I'm growing. I have new clients. I have new programs coming, and it's more than I ever dreamt. So I can only imagine what's ahead. So that's my big where.
Well, you started out your business as 10 Touch Creative Agency, but you had a tinge with that name, and you made the move to adjust the name,
I did. I'm not an agency. I am an agency. I don't want, it's too corporate America for me. I am
right?
Fran. I am 10 Touch. I'm creative. I come up with creative solutions. And whether you need my whole team, which is an agency, or you just need some help from time to time, because we have different levels of our program. Where here, I felt like agency was too old messaging. Maybe old is the wrong word, but it's just, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Right?
I'm different than that. And I walk my, I'm very much the kind of person that I walk to my own drum. But yeah, it just
Well,
didn't feel right. When I went to 10 Touch Creative, I was like, oh, that's my name. And ironically, it was already my URL. So
yeah, you didn't have agency in your URL, so you just dropped the word agency. I mean, words matter. Words
yeah.
have personality and lead us to certain destinations. And we both came from a corporate culture that, in some respects, we want to break free of in some of that culture. I mean, we've both have had some great employers to work for, but then we've
Yes.
also had some corporate cultures that we don't want to instill in our culture. And the way that businesses are run is different. The old corporate culture
Mm-hmm.
is changing, but those folks that really are looking for that rigid agency type of structure,
Doesn't work.
that it doesn't work, and they're struggling. But that's another subject that we should probably
Probably talk about.
touch
I
on.
did want to throw one other thing in there because you did mention my company name change. People will see I have my name change. I am I
Yes.
am returning to my maiden name, Fran Attilio. You will hear a lot from me. I've had people tell me how that they know who my father is, even though they never met him. Attilio is my father's name. My father was a huge influence in my life. And Adapt and Flow, the philosophy of my company, is actually created on a concept he taught me. So I'm going back to Fran Attilio in celebration of him. And everybody has a different experience with their parents. My father was a role model to me. I'm going to joke up. He was imperfectly perfect to me and admitted when he had made mistakes. And that meant a lot to me and it taught me a lot. So that's my name change. I am Fran Attilio. I'm still me. I got my vowel back at the end of my name. One other thing which ties to the Don't Let the Start Stop You, I am currently, as we are recording this, by the time the season ends, I will be graduating. I'm in a 200-hour yoga teacher training program. And some people may think that is not connected to business development and strategy development, but it very much is. I believe very much in the personal journey I have been on. I believe in what I've learned is valuable. It is why Adapt and Flow is created. And when you work with me, I give you some insight of actually Adapt and Flow is based in yoga philosophy. And I won't get into that here, but so much my personal journey led me here. Now, if you would have asked me about 2 years ago, Fran, would you sign up to be a yoga teacher trainer? I would have laughed at you. Here's what yoga teacher, if anything I could tell, this is the big thing in my personal journey. What I've learned is I had to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I was not good with the uncomfortable. Conflict, challenges, difficult situations. Funny as a business owner because you have to do that on a daily basis. But the yoga teacher training teaches you that when you move, it's a journey to yourself through movement and through philosophy. And I saw this epiphany went off that, oh my gosh, this is going to help me be a better guide and coach and, team for my clients. I'm also Reiki 2 attuned. So I believe in energy work. I believe in change the thought, change everything. I believe that we can do the work and it's all worth it. There's always a little pain in the middle when you do the work, but it's totally worth it. There's a saying that started this all that sits under my TV and it said, "Action does not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action." And that's what started me on this personal journey, where I've gotten to this self-discovery point, and why I'm about to go through this. I'm a quarter of the way through. It's harder than college. It's harder than going through a full semester of college. But I love my teachers, and I love the people I'm in class with, and I love what I'm learning. Every class, there's another discovery. So yeah, so that's where I've been. But Gayla, I'd love to hear about your past experiences this past year. And can you share? couple of instances where you initially hesitated to start something and then had a breakthrough moment?
Well, a couple of things come to mind. One thing is, on a personal level is, and I don't like to talk about it much, but well, I know I need to get pictures taken for my website and update things. And for the last few years, I've had this a transition in my body and the way I look that I've just had a tough time kind of going with that. Now, I have to say, I am a grandmother and I love saying that. But one thing that, almost 2 years ago, went on a long trip and I've colored my hair for ever, right? And I've grayed since I was 19. I got with my hairdresser and I said, okay, I'm going to have to change because I am not going to go on a work from anywhere trip and have a line, right? That definite line. I need to gracefully move into my gray hair. And it took a while. But then during that time, and well, for years, it's just like associated with that, I felt frumpy. And so I was gaining weight little by little by little by little. And then a couple of years ago, I went on keto diet and that worked, but then I fell off of it. Well, this year, at the beginning of the year, I just had it and I had a mindset shift. I decided I'm not going on any more diets ever again. My mindset is I am going to eat differently. My eating habits are going to change. I broke it down to where it's not like, okay, I'm on this diet and I have to be really strict and I have to count calories. I hate that. I have to count macros on the keto diet. That's stupid. And it's just like all this stuff. And so I ended up, and mind you, when your partner, i.e., Robert, is is on board, it's so much easier. His mindset was he was ready to take action. We left in March, like March 1st, on our first Clifford trip of the year. And for 30 days, I concentrated on meat and cheese. And that was it. Very little sugars, no carbs. And it was easy because, you're in the middle of nowhere. You can't really go to a drive through. When you're out and about, you don't, it's just different. And so it was able to jumpstart us. And so I was excited about that. I didn't tell very many folks, and it wigs people out to talk about carnivore diet and then other things. So you're going to die if you're going to eat fats and proteins the way we do. But what I was listening to made sense, and I was not going overboard. I decided not to count, but I would weigh myself. Gosh, now, 10 months later, or no, not even 10 months, 8 or 9 months later, I have lost 40 pounds and I am super excited. I know that the journey's not over, but I have decided that I'm not on a diet. I have changed my eating habits. So if I so-called fall off the wagon, it's not that I've fallen off of this diet. It's like, oh, what is it that I can do today that makes my life better tomorrow? Should I have this ice cream now? Or, oh, I've got a celebration at the end of the week. I think I'll wait because I'm not going to deprive myself and I'm just educating myself more on the types of foods that maybe I can make better choices. I'm not letting anybody tell me what I can and can't eat. So it was a total mindset shift. What I'm doing is making it reasonable. We're coming into the holidays. I don't want to live in a world that I can't enjoy holiday treats that remind me of my childhood or of just that family and security. So I'm on maintain. Let's just maintain this. And next year, I want to lose 10 pounds. My overall goal will be, but if I've been maintaining now for several weeks and it feels good. And now I know I need to do something else for my health. But health, body, and finance and professional, it all is intertwined, isn't it? I feel better, so I'm working better. My
Oh,
head
person.
is clearer and
Yeah.
I feel more confident on that. So I just got some new pictures taken. My whole websites are going to be updated, going to show my perception of my less frumpy me. You know, we're always most critical of ourselves.
Mm.
And show my gray hair, which I'm fine with. I like it. But, you know, also I like our lifestyle where I just don't do much with, I don't get too fancy because I'm not a fancy person.
That's amazing. First of all, congratulations on your personal journey.
Thank
And
you.
just want to say, for those of you who may not have, can't see you right now, or all our listeners can't see you, I actually think your hair makes you look like a superhero.
Ah.
I feel like you look like one of those like powerful women that have like this streak in your hair, and you're like I don't know, just it always makes me think of that because I love superheroes, and I totally get that chipping away at the mindset thing.
And I think that we need to give ourselves grace as I grow older and wiser. It's just I don't feel as frantic, and I feel like I think and decide. But here's the thing: you don't want to, like when you started your business. You made that snap decision. I'm going to create my LLC. We've got to have those moments of action
Yeah.
to propel us forward instead of going from that launch to say, well, I better get an attorney for this LLC. I know I can do online, but maybe I shouldn't. I mean, shoot, right before our recording, I introduced you to a woman's networking group. And I said, I think I'm thinking about, I slacked you and I said, I think I might have this as my networking. And then after I slacked you, I was like, I am not going to wait for Fran's
Overthink this.
permission, and I'm not going to overthink it. It's affordable and I can do this because this is what I'm looking for in this type of networking opportunity.
Gayla, you do that for me every day we talk. And what you're touching on and what happened in that moment for me, I ran on instinct and intuition instead of listening to all the other voices in my head. I had done the work. I wouldn't have known how to start my LLC if I hadn't done the research before that moment. I had been looking at a lot of stuff. I had done a lot of research. I knew the company I was going to use to set up my LLC, which is a legal based company, blah, blah, blah. But I kept putting it off because I had all these voices. I had all these mindsets that were taught to me. And I wasn't listening to the one person who knew me best, which is me. And I wasn't listening to my thoughts and trusting instinct and intuition is a lost art, which is a big part of this next part of my journey. So I love that you shared all that.
What is the next part of your journey? What are you currently working on that you're not letting the start stop you?
It is the official launch of all these programs. It is me owning that I am the chief integrative marketing strategist for 10 Touch Creative. I say that now with pride instead of choking on it. I know so much by what you mean, embracing the mindset. I believe I had a touch of imposter syndrome. I believe I had a touch of, oh, but there's so many other, actually, literally the opposite of what I teach. I was suffering from many of those mindset ills. And I had to do a presentation for my yoga class, and I had to do a mini teaching, and I decided I was going to do it on Adaptive Flow so I could see how it went. And in doing so, I went, well, how do I introduce myself? Who am I? Like if in 10 Touch. And I never liked my title forever. In 5 years, I've had 15 titles, I think. And I sat down and I said, well, it's this personal journey and it's helping businesses grow because I believe it's all personal. And there's a word used in a lot of holistic medicine and holistic teachings, which is integrative. And there are integrated marketing strategists. My title, my name, what sits and resonates with me, and I can say it proudly, is I am an integrative marketing strategist because I bring together all parts of the personal journey. And so the one thing that's not letting the start stop you is right now, over the last 12 months, we've had a lot of moving pieces on this program coming together. We had a soft launch this year and it was worked out. I need a website. I need to finish my workbooks and I need to get the first workshop off the ground. They're all in motion and I'm going to get them done. They each have a timeline now. They each have a deadline to launch and they are no questions. And what's interesting is I've let the reins go on some of it. And I saw members of my team that could take pieces on. And I literally, before this call, just reviewed one of the workbooks that's in development that my team knocked out of the park. So I also gave up trying to control all the pieces and tying back to don't let the start stop you. If one piece gets done before the other, If it's not necessarily in the order I thought, I'm not going to hold it up. I'm going to let the flow keep going. So I have held back too long in waiting for my pieces of the puzzle to be exactly right, or waiting for that right perfect time. There is no right perfect time. Like you said, if you're listening right now, now's the time. If you've been thinking about it, now's the time. As we go forward, the timer is a perfect example. Did a test, and all the people I sent it out to are like, these are magic. Well, I just placed my order for my first big bulk order of the timers that we'll be selling and promoting and teaching people how to use.
Well, I remember you took a story brand live experience at the workshop with me, and you created your own brand script for, I believe, 10 Touch. And then on the personal side, we had a coaching session and coaching is great because an outsider looking in, you're a marketer just like I am, but we all need this outside perspective. Yes. And we created your personal brand script, and that has changed and evolved because since then you've had more and more self-discovery and you've refined it. But that was, I see hindsight, that was a catalyst of showing this stuff comes about. But then you had some other stuff that stalled some of your business, but now there's other catalyst moments. So this journey is not always from point A to point B in a straight line all at once. There's a lot of little hurdles that we need to go through. And looking back on, for my don't let the start stop you moments, it really came about as Robert and I were driving back to Springfield in our fall Clifford trip. We threw a number out on our goal last year of we're going to spend 180 days, 6 months in Clifford. And we blocked things out on the calendar. And we're just shy of that. But we were talking on our trip. We've been doing this now since 2011. Having this idea, I never thought possible. Can I create a business that is not location dependent and where I don't have to look for another job again? Creating a business is different than trying to find a job. Working to serve your clients and creating your own schedule, creating your own workflow, creating the company culture to fuel a lifestyle. And I got to thinking, it's like, it was 2011 when we were in Florida, and I had decided, I don't know what kind of business to do, but this job that I'm working for is going to end, and I've got to close these other satellite offices. Why are we renting this house in Florida when instead of flying to these other places and stuff, we bought a 38-foot RV and sold practically everything we owned to live in that. That was our first step. And we lived in that 38-foot RV for quite some time. But then we used to have a Jeep Wrangler, and Robert had it in his mind to say, hey, I think a rooftop tent is cool. We should do that and do some camping on that. And I was like, all right. So he saved us money. We did not, starting a business, being without an employer and then starting a business, didn't know what the heck I was doing. It was a struggle. But Robert, with his music income, he saved the money to get that rooftop tent. We had that delivered. We attached it to the vehicle, and we went to our first Overland Expo, which is a whole bunch of people that like to do vehicle-based travel and vehicle-based living, and met a lot of people. After that first year, and we were driving, and it's like, how can we do more of this? Well, that next step was, well, let's volunteer at the next one, so that we had a job in exchange for like the entry fees. That was cool. We really wished that we could just do it full time, but there were struggles. There were still things that pulled us back to being location dependent. But little by little, we've chipped away at that. And then I realized our goals from 2011 on working from anywhere is different. You don't have to live in your vehicle full time to have the lifestyle that we want. I feel like we are enjoying the freedom that we want because we've had some mindset shifts. How can we make things in our business better, to serve our clients, and work well with our lifestyle. Because if we're happy and we're invigorated, we help people even more, right? And how do you make that happen? And just making one decision at a time. And I'm pretty proud of that, because even with our vehicles, we never had the philosophy that when we're building, like we're building out Clifford, there's still things to be done on that. But we went on our first trips with it kind of gutted out and just little bits, because you got to try it. And you don't, you make adjustments. You don't have to wait till everything's perfect, everything's done. Because in 2011, it looked impossible. And it was this year that we realized, hey, we're actually like doing the lifestyle that we dreamed of. Things came along the way that made things possible. And we didn't give up, and we went through the challenges. So I think I kind of concluded this as, instead of what I'm working on for the first steps, I think it was more like we are doing it. And that realization is helping me with my fractional CMO role, right? That I'm leaning into. It's all these mindsets, these accomplishments are intertwined. A personal accomplishment intertwines with a professional intertwines with a personal and a family. And it's all the little steps.
That's my whole philosophy. It's all personal. I will tell you, Gayla, everything you touch on reminds me of an author, Dr. Edith Eger, that I love. She wrote 2 books, The Choice and The Gift. And the choices give you the gift of true freedom. It is the choices we make in mind, in action, that create our existence and where we're at. So you made, and it doesn't, you don't always see it until hindsight sometimes, but look at how you reflected on this and saw that in 2011, that was your first step. And it was that choice that led you to the freedom you feel now. It is, you don't just make a choice to wake up happy one day. Well, you can, because happiness is a choice. It's the choices. It's every day making another choice. And that can be a step. That can be a step. Today, if you're listening and you've been wanting to start your own business, or there's something you wanted to do, you want to climb a certain mountain, you want to go learn rock climbing, kayaking, you want to write a book, whatever it may be. Today, saying to yourself, I am making the choice to make this happen, that's a step forward. That's a first step. So our choices, and they are our choices. My father, I'm going to throw him in there again, always said, no one can make you do anything. You have a choice in every situation, and I've been through some hard stuff, and you know that, Gayla. And I even accept that sentence. And obviously every sentence doesn't apply to every situation, but in this scenario of trying to accomplish something that's not harmful, there is a way to get it done. I just love that story, because for you to look back and say, wow, in 2011, we took that first step and we're realizing our dreams. That's what it takes to realize that you can just take that first step. Whatever it is today, take it.
And take it, yes. Well, Fran, this has been so great. I'm motivated. We hope that what we've shared today has sparked a little fire in you to take the next best step in achieving your live full, work fun lifestyle. Just listening is easy, right, Fran?
Yeah.
Now, taking action to begin implementing does not have to be hard, right? It's that little things matter. So now it's your turn. Take a moment to reflect on your accomplishments this year. Write them down. Take action to write them down. Far too often we are so focused on what we didn't do instead of celebrating what we did accomplish. So I believe that things snowball when you focus on the accomplishments. Things stagnate when you focus on the things that have not been done. Your big dreams and goals might be closer than you think. We've realized that, right, Fran?
Yeah.
So those seemingly small achievements aren't so small after all. They're just the stepping stones getting you closer to where you want to be in your journey. Anything else, Fran?
I love that. And I love that you said sparked a little fire. That's all it takes, is a little spark.
Little spark.
And we believe in you.
Yes. Well, thanks for listening. And until next time, live full, work fun. This episode has been brought to you by Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social scheduling platform built for the busy solopreneur. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today.